Hello, good morning. How are you? I am Nikita, and we have a special edition of the Tending Your Soul broadcast. Today, we're doing a podcast. So I thank you so much for joining. Um, let's get started. Purpose is powerful, but it's also heavy. And God never intended for you to carry it alone. Today, we're talking about the importance of having a tribe, the people who cover you, challenge you, and help you nurture what God has placed inside of you. If you've ever felt overwhelmed, isolated, or unsure while walking in purpose, this conversation is for you. Hey, beautiful people, I'm Nikita, your inner voice transformation coach. I help women heal their inner voice so they can think clearly, speak confidently, and move forward with power. Today, we're having a conversation with Minister Erica Martinez. Minister Martinez is an associate minister at Westwood Baptist Church University Center and serves as the worship leader for Heart of Zion Fellowship Ministries. She is known for her transparent preaching style and practical application of God's word with a strong belief in the power of testimony. By profession, she is a middle school math teacher living out her dream career. Erica is a devoted mother of two and fiance of Apostle Sharif A. Thompson, and she strives to live a life fully surrendered to God's purpose. She is one of the panelists slash breakout session leaders for the Vision Conference 2026. So the theme for the Vision Conference is Can God Trust Your Womb? Preparing your womb for purpose. You can still register for the conference. It is free. It is free 99. You can still register at bit.ly/the Vision Conference 2026. We need for you to register so that we can properly prepare for you. So without further ado, I introduce to you Minister Erica Martinez.
Hey,
Hello. How are you?
hey, I'm doing well. I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing good. Thank you for being with us this morning. Totally excited about it. We're not going to delay. We're going to get started, but I am going to take one quick minute because what I want to do is actually tag you in what I in the broadcast to be sure the folks that you know that you're live and in person. So give me one moment. Let me do that if I can do that. Let's see, I can. And here we go. And let's see for your name to pop up. Up there you go. And then we're gonna save it. And there you go. All right. So how are you this morning?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well.
Good.
Yeah, yeah.
You doing thank you. Thank you so much for joining. I'm not gonna delay. We're gonna jump right in. So we're talking about having a tribe, right? If I can get my notes up, let's get it together. Uh, and so we're going to start off with talking about, purpose was never meant to be carried alone, right? So God designed purpose to grow in community. Isolation weakens purpose, connection strengthens it. So there's some scriptures that we're going to put with that, and it's Genesis 2:18. The synopsis of it is it's not good for man to be
Hmm.
alone. Ecclesiastes 4:9-12, two are better than one. 1 Corinthians 12:12-27, one body, many parts. So the question that we have to start with is this. Where did we start believing? Where do you believe we started believing that independence was strength?
Honestly, that's IDEPEND. No, I'm just joking.
Right.
um, it, it's just the strive for self elevation.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know exactly. I can't, pinpoint where, but I mean, we know how the devil was in heaven. It was like, I'm, I'm the bomb up here. I'm the best angel, this, that, and the other, and wanted to be all about him, which is why he got kicked out of heaven. So it's just been this continuous battle, as far as like, trying to do things on your own, and that's the thing. Um, we definitely need people And so it's just this societal, look what I did, look, what I built.
Hmm.
It's just that mindset. Do I know where? I mean, from the beginning, it's been there.
So you mentioned about having the society, but the having the society mindset about, um, but where do you think, or rather, a healthy tribe? Let's go there. A healthy tribe helps guard, your purpose from burnout, blind spots, and bad decisions. Okay.
Hmm.
Um, and even though we have this independent mindset, and society has made us think that we can do it better by ourselves, having other around us helps us not get burnt out because we have
Yeah,
somebody that can basically help take the load, or tell us when we need to,
absolutely.
hey, you may need to take step back, or let me help you do that. And we don't, a lot of us don't know how to do that, especially as women.
Hmm.
Proverbs 27:17 says, iron sharpens iron. That is so, I've been thinking about that all week, about iron sharpening iron, that we've got to have people in our lives that when we get a little dull, they can help sharpen us. And when they get a little dull,
Absolutely.
we can help sharpen them. Proverbs 13:20, walk with the wise. That is so, oh my gosh, in today's time, that is so sticking important, because I talk about this all the time, that we, um, we sometimes we put those individuals in our lives that will give us the easy answer, and
Hmm.
we don't want to walk with those people who are going to give us the answer that we don't want. They're going to give
Yep.
us the right answer, and the right answer may sometimes be hard.
Hmm.
So we need to be sure that we're walking with people that are wise. Exodus 17:12, Moses' arms held up by Aaron and her. I was
Yes, I love that scripture.
I do
Yes.
too. I was young. My mother was a minister, and we had gone out of town with a friend of hers who was a minister. And we went to this church, and the pastor of that church gave my mother. She was, I guess you could say she was prophesying to her, but she said to me that I was my mother's Aaron. That when she got weak, that I, hold her arms up. And
Mm-hmm.
I did do that. It literally, that was part of my role in her life. But we all need an Aaron. We all need somebody that when we feel like I can't go because of X, Y, and Z, God told him, yeah, you gonna go do it. He told Moses, you got to go do it. But I'm gonna send Aaron with you. Since you feel like you can't talk, don't worry about it. I'm gonna send somebody with you to help you. We need that Aaron in our life.
Absolutely.
So
Mhm.
the question I have for you is this. Did you always value community, or did you learn its importance the hard way?
I have been blessed. Now I've been a single mom,
Hmm.
um, having to do things independently, having to do things, whatever. But I always give credit to my village that I had, starting with, people, at my church. Um, I have been adopted by I don't know how many older women in
Hmm.
my church claiming to be my mom.
Uh-huh.
And then when my actual mom's health, was failing and she couldn't really do things that, grannies are supposed to do or whatever, I had a village. And it blew my mind. I've had, my sister at times, a lot of times I worked a lot. I worked this shift, that shift, all over the place. And it's like, hey, I gotta work tonight. I gotta whatever. I could drop my kids off over her house, over my godparents' house, over my another mom's house. Like it's just that village. So I never say, I'm independent because I know that I have always had people around me to help in those times. Now, granted, I'm a go getter and I'm gonna
Right.
get it done, but again, there still has to be people in place to keep the kids or to whatever.
Hmm.
So I've never had that mindset that I'm out here,
Hmm.
alone. And even in college, I had my best friend in college, which we're best friends still to this day. You know, that was my ministry partner. In college,
Hmm.
so we've God has always placed somebody in my life as far as the iron sharpens iron. And if anybody tells me or leads me in the wrong direction, or praises my bad decisions. I don't want them in
Right.
my life,
Right.
because I want to be rebuked. I want to be, challenged. I want to be the Erica. Now, this and you that. Now, mind you, I have a mind of my own, and
Right.
when I'm ready to change, I'm gonna change. I
Right.
said, but I don't want somebody that's just gonna help me stay where I'm at.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I've
Oh, that's
always valued community.
that is so good. Having people in our lives that will not help us. That is good. Where is my ink pen? That will help us stay where we are. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. There are so many uh individuals, the mentors and the coaches and things, they all said the same thing. Bishop TD Jakes, that if you're the smartest one in the room, you need to change rooms.
Mhm.
If you are the richest person in your circle, you need to change circles. You need,
Mhm.
because you need to be around people who are going to do that thing, who are going to push you farther, who are going to show you that where you are is not the height of where you could be. That is, oh
Absolutely.
my gosh, having people around you who are not going to help you stay where you are, girl. That was good.
Mhm.
So with that, that was
Mhm.
really good, because the next thing is this. Everyone doesn't always get access, right? So purpose requires discernment and choosing who gets proximity, who be
Absolutely.
your circle. Mark 4:34, Jesus explained things privately to his disciples. He always took them off when it was a moment when he needed to say, hey, let's get this right here together. Oh, what happened? Then he took them off and had to say what he had to, and said what he needed to say. Luke 6:12-16. Jesus chose the 12 intentionally. He didn't do anything just haphazardly. And then, oh my Lord, I think it has a timer on it. That's why it keeps going down. Okay, and it does. Let's stop that now. Amos 3:3. Can two walk together unless they
Mhm.
agree? So the question then is this: how has your tribe helped you grow spiritually and personally?
Mm. Um, First of all, we can prophesy, we can do this, all that. But if
Mm-hmm.
we don't do it without love, it's irrelevant.
Mm-hmm.
And what I've seen in my tribe really is love. What love looks like, the service, the availability, and all of that. Now, since high school, for the most part, I've been spiritually strong. Don't mean that I ain't wild out and took some, different avenues or whatever.
Right.
Um, and my relationship with God has really been important, even in the lowest and most horrible moments. I knew who I could always turn back to.
Mm-hmm.
But the blessing is just having um, that godly advice, or that godly counsel, that is going to kind of help. And people know they can't really tell me necessarily, Erica, you can't do this, can't do that, because I am strong minded, in a sense, and I know that when I'm ready. But when I know that I can have conversations with people, and they're going to give me that reality, or that check, or even just show love in that unconditional way. It's just a blessing, because I know that a lot of people don't get that. And that's why I really pressed the importance of also having a church home, a body of believers that you can lean on, cling to, all of that. And that's where a lot of my counsel, a lot of my help, and just even taking me, in that sense, it's
Mm-hmm.
been my church home, my body of believers, the women in my life.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's just it having somebody to talk to, bounce scriptures off of, like my fiance.
Mm-hmm.
Our first conversations, in which really drew me, is just our both shared love for the word.
Mm-hmm.
The being able to make biblical jokes and the other person understands.
Yep. Yep.
Those that really matters, and that's what failed in other situations, and kind of, it because of that lack of spiritual discipline and all of that stuff. So it just really means that, because our spirits can can love one another, and it's not this battle within because the conviction and all of that stuff. Both our spirits are saying, "Yay!" It's a blessing.
Mm, that's good. You said something that actually leads us to our next thing, and that's accountability. Because you talked about having those people that even though you're strong minded and all the things, but those people that can hold you accountable. And
Hmm.
as you were talking, I was thinking about that accountability piece. But one thing that we've already talked about that I think people really need to understand and get, especially when you're working towards your purpose, is having responsible people in your corner that can hold
Absolutely.
accountable. Because there are some people that want to hold you accountable that can't even hold themselves accountable.
Mm, hmm,
They don't
hmm,
want correction, but they want to be able to correct you. So
hmm.
it's important that even you have all those people, the people in your circle, the people that are in your tribe, that is reciprocal, but that you can trust their accountability. I hope that makes
I
sense.
don't know. Absolutely. And that a lot of times prevented me from being that accountability piece for others because
Mhm,
I know that I wasn't living it. So I'm not going to be all up in your face and say, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that when I'm out here wild and doing what I want to do.
mhm,
That absolutely matters. And I know not far along, I was in a period of, disobedience and doing what I want to do.
mhm,
And, I had my god sister, my life talking about, I can be your accountability partner, whatever, which she could be that account. I was like, no, I don't need an accountability partner because,
mhm,
when I get it, but the character of who she is, then she would be a good accountability partner because she was living it.
mhm,
So yeah, it is the importance of you gotta live it before you try to dish it out. That's what I'm saying.
mhm.
Don't worry about the speck in somebody else's eye when you got a whole plate.
Frank, right.
Yeah, so it definitely has to be reliable counsel. Absolutely.
That's good. I Some of the scriptures that we got for this accountability piece is Hebrews 3:12 through 13, encourage one another daily.
Mhm.
Galatians 6:1 through 2, bear one another's burdens.
Mhm.
James 5:16, confess and pray for one another. And I've talked about this James 5:16 before, because confess and pray for one another is that, and it's just the time that we're living in, that when you're confessing, it goes back to accountability and trust. You got to be able to trust the people that you are confessing to. You can't confess
Mhm.
to messy people.
Right. Right.
That's why it's so important that you know who you got in your tribe, and you got to
Mhm.
be able to trust them with your secrets. You got to be able to trust them with your think.
Mhm.
Because there's a difference between somebody praying for you, pray, and praying on you, prey. Because some
Absolutely.
confess our things to people, they prey on us with it and they weaponize it against us
Mhm.
don't when we don't show up the way they want us to show up. They'll try to weaponize it against us. The other one that I love is the Galatians 6 1 through 2, the bear one another's burdens. I don't think um it doesn't mean that you have to just take on the whole thing and just be grieved all day long about it, but it's okay to grieve a little bit with your person, with it. If you're somebody in your tribe is grieving a thing, it's okay to grieve with them, to bear that burden, to shoulder whatever it is that they
Mhm.
going through. So here's the question: what role has accountability played in sustaining your purpose?
um, First of all, you keep the people that were a part of your purpose in your life. Um, and I say that to say, from the beginning, I mentioned my best friend in college. Um, we've had our ups and downs, and all of that. However, like I accepted my calling around the same time she accepted her calling, and
Okay.
I didn't know that she was going through, and I didn't know that she didn't know that I was. But the importance of that is that reminder of you have a
Mhm.
purpose.
Mhm.
Even if you stray, and even if they understand where you are and they're not condemning you because of where you are, that's still a reminder of you have a purpose. You have a purpose. And and me and my fiance, um, we're walking, he's stepping into the ministry that God has given him, and we
Mhm.
have those, hard conversations sometimes as far as like what we should be doing and what we're not doing and all of that. And it's all, out of love in both directions.
Right.
Because if God is giving you something, um we should be carrying out what God has given.
Mhm.
And sometimes, it may be difficult times or whatever, but it's really important that we hold each other accountable because, especially if our purposes are entwined as well, because, you know, it says, that you should be equally yoked. If
Mhm.
I'm trying to walk and I'm trying to press
Right.
forward and the other person is, well, we ain't doing the job.
Right. Right.
So it is very important to have that person in your life or those people in your life that can just remind you of the goal and to push you forward, because sometimes it can be discouraging. Life can be discouraging. Things aren't looking like you thought, all of that stuff. But if you have that person that is saying, press forward, keep moving, we gotta do it,
Mhm.
it's really important because it keeps you on your toes and you keep you working towards that purpose.
I like that. That's because that is very important to have somebody who will remind you of what your purpose is.
Hmm.
Those accountability part. That's the other thing about it. It's not just so much holding you accountable. You said you're going to do X, Y, Z, but reminding you this is your why. This is what God's giving you to do. So, what have you worked on this today? Have you done? You said you're going to do X, Y, and Z.
Right.
And that's the other thing. I think if you have people in your life that are part of your tribe, because your tribe can have different levels, right? You can have just your general tribe, and then you can have your inner circle of that tribe. And your
Hmm.
inner circle of that tribe could be those people you say, "Hey, this is what I'm working toward. This is what
Absolutely.
I'm doing." Those people who check in and say, "You said you were doing X, Y, and Z. What have you done with it today? Have you
Hmm.
done needing help? You need to do X, Y." So that's really important, especially like you said, when you're in relationship and in ministry, that you hold each other accountable. And the piece that I love that you said is that no matter what, however it is, that it's done in love, that it's not done
Hmm.
out of spite, which again goes back to why you have to have people who are actually going to pray for you, PRAY.
Absolutely.
REY on you. So I love that. I love that. So we're coming down to the end. So I got one more piece and then we're going to get out of here. So, and I think this sort of lines up what we've been talking about, that a real tribe celebrates you and corrects you in love. And so, the scriptures for this is Proverbs 27:5-6. Faithful are the wounds of a friend. Colossians 3:16. Teach and admonish one another. And 2 Timothy 4:2. If it will show, correct, rebuke, and encourage, which is everything that you
Yes.
said. So the question is this: have you ever had to outgrow or redefine your tribe?
Oh yeah. Baby, yes, I have. And it's never in a sense of, I've had, people in the past, a friend in the past
Hmm.
that, when you're hanging with them, then you do this, you know. When you're, hanging with them, then you do this. And then
Hmm.
when you realize that you're doing this and it's far away from what you're supposed to do,
Hmm.
no matter how close that relationship was, that friendship was, whatever, you have to separate,
Right.
you know? And there's been, times where I definitely have done that. I've, kind of cut ties because I'm struggling to get where I'm supposed to be. And this person or these people or this tribe or however you want are
Hmm.
helping me stay where I'm at. And I don't want to stay here. I
Right.
know this is not what God has for me.
Right.
So it's hard sometimes, letting people go. But in the end, I want to be seen doing God's will. you know.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have somebody that's going to help you stay in this low place where you shouldn't be, and sometimes you have to let it go. So absolutely, I have had to do that in the past. Like, why, Erica, you don't talk to me no more. You don't whatever. And and it's just a resistance there because I didn't like where I was when
Mm-hmm.
I was there. I didn't like, who I was. I didn't all of that. So yes, you absolutely, absolutely have to. Absolutely.
So I have one more question, because, and then we're really gonna let it go. But it's something you just said that I feel like people, they may be asking, like, okay, so you, like you mentioned, there are people that have said, I haven't heard from you in a while. What, how do you handle that? You know, do you say, well, I'm doing da da da? How do you do that? Do you just cut them off completely? Do you check in on them every once in a while? How do you do that without, I don't know what the word is I'm looking for, but how do you do that? How do you cut them off without, saying, girl, you bad for my life? How do you do that?
Well, that's a good question because a lot of times I don't have a response
Hmm.
um to that. I just don't. I don't want to be like, well, you're doing this and you're doing that and I'm doing
Right.
this and I'm doing
Right.
that. I just kind of let life, life will separate you too. If you're chasing two
Yes.
different things,
Yep.
life in general will separate.
Right.
So I have had those moments. I wish I could um because I mean, there's some times that I probably want to say something to people, and I have
Hmm.
sent messages to people and say this is why I'm not. And there are some people where I haven't really given any kind of
Hmm.
explanation. I just life has separated
Yeah.
us, and I just
Let
let
it
it happen.
go. Hmm.
Um, so it's just I don't know. I don't have a great answer for that, but I definitely pray and
Hmm.
God actually directs our paths. He actually, moves people out of our lives, like all of that stuff. And that's what I've learned too, as well. When somebody is removed or whatever, God knows the reason why. So I don't dwell on, oh, I
Mhm,
missed this and I missed this friendship and I missed this and I missed that.
mhm,
I
mhm.
literally move on and call me cold or not. I apologize for that, but I also know that I have somebody else that's really kind of orchestrating, especially if I'm saying, Lord, lead me, Lord, guide me, Lord,
Mhm.
move people out of my. If I'm praying those things and things fall off,
Right.
I don't have kind of, I don't
Yeah,
necessarily have to have an explanation
there you
because
go.
the
Mhm.
Lord moved it. So
Right. That's good. That's good. Because if you that's the problem some of us have, is that we pray and ask God to do a thing, he does the thing, and then we get upset. But that's what you asked God to do. So he did it. So what you said is perfect, right? There
mm,
is nothing to, because if they've moved on and you've moved on, that's it. If they come back and say,
mm,
I haven't heard from you in a while, well, how you doing? Praise God. Well,
absolutely.
have a great year,
Hmm.
whatever. So yeah, I love that. Thank you so much for being with us today. It was just totally awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
I hope everyone enjoyed this, and I hope that you will come join us. I'm going to show you the link one more time for the Vision Conference 2026. Please be sure to go to bit.ly/, the Vision Conference 2026 to join us. We would love to see you there. So as we end, purpose flourishes in community. The right people will pray with you, stand with you, and tell you
Mm,
the truth, even when it's uncomfortable. Don't despise the gift of a tribe. Ask God to align you with people who sharpen your faith, protect your purpose, and
absolutely.
walk with you in love. You are never meant to do this alone. So thank you again, Miss Erica. We greatly appreciate it, and we cannot wait to see you at the Vision Conference 2026. So every
Thank you.
thank you. Thank you for your yes. So thank you everyone for joining. We will be back next Saturday with another panelist slash speaker of the Vision Conference, and we hope that you will join us. So as always, be blessed, be in peace, and we will see you next time.